You won't hear it.
What's the lead? How long is the lead in?
A minute.
The boys wanna be her, the girls wanna be her. The boys wanna be her, the girls wanna be her. The boys wanna be her, the girls wanna be her. The boys wanna be her. I wanna be her. The way you rock non-stop, girl, you got the chops. Flip flop, she bop, self-top, your licks are hot.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the star of our show as Joan Rivers, Frank Marino.
Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Holding Court with the Empress of West Hollywood. My name's Enoch Miller, your Empress of WeHo, and it's our last show of the 2017 year. I cannot believe this year has flown by so quickly. 2018 is right on the horizon, and Christmas is just getting over with, so we're a little worn out from the holidays, but we're really excited for New Year's, and really excited for having some fun in 2018. Oh yeah. And we want to thank our very special guest, Mr. Frank Marino, all the way from Las Vegas. A special tribute here, and we're really excited to have you close out this amazing first season with us. And I was telling him earlier, it's so amazing to have him because we started this season with Christine W. in Vegas as well, which we love her. And ending it with him was just so apropos, and it's just an amazing kind of conclusion for this first season. So thank you again so much for being here.
It's great to be here.
And everyone who doesn't know, Frank Marino does Divas in Las Vegas, the longest running headliner in Las Vegas for 32 years. Amazing success with everything. What has been, I think, your number one thing you've loved about being in Vegas and doing headlining for Divas?
Well, I love everything Vegas, first of all.
Nice.
The way that came about, that I ended up even knowing of Las Vegas, is we would vacation there when
really?
I was a child. So
Okay.
I always loved the glitter and the glamour and the 24-hourness of it. And, you know, to grow up and end up moving there and being something in the community, it's just like a dream that I hope I never wake up from.
That's awesome. And it's so funny, too, because he started out in New York, Long Island, and so over on Oceanside, New York, and if anyone who doesn't know that, it's just like in between Long Beach and over there by Hampstead. So he's right there on kind of the very cusp of Long Island. Beautiful area too, from what I hear. It's really
It's very
gorgeous.
nice. It's very nice.
And so, what was it like growing up in Long Island compared to now living in Vegas? What was kind of the difference between the East and West Coast on that side?
Well, totally different, because now if I go back home and I say I live in Las Vegas, people think I live in a hotel.
Oh wow!
And in Las Vegas, if I say I lived in New York, they think it's all like cement and no grass.
You live in a box.
And I live in a box. And they don't realize it's like so much grass where I lived
Yeah.
on Long Island, you know, because you'd have Manhattan, which would be like what they're thinking.
Right.
And then where I lived, there's just lots and lots of land.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing a lot of people don't realize. I mean, Long Island is beautiful. It's luscious. I mean, it's very almost suburbia in a way on some places.
And some parts very suburban.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a great area. And so, what was it like for you growing up in New York as a young kid? And what were kind of some of the experiences you remember that really kind of were like, oh my gosh, growing up in Long Island, it was kind of like compared to what New York is now today when you go back to visit?
To me, when I go back to visit, it's pretty much the same.
Okay.
The area I lived in, it was just, well, when we first got there, it was very country. We had like
really?
6, 7 houses on the block.
Oh, wow.
And then and we all had very big yards, and then they built another
Right.
and another. And now there are streets and stuff like
Gotcha.
that, like fully lined, you know.
Yeah,
with
which
homes.
makes sense. Yeah.
So that was what it was like there. And then coming to Vegas, I live in a neighborhood in Vegas too, so
Right.
it's pretty similar. And I just moved to another neighborhood in Vegas that reminds me of Long Island. It has the oak trees and all the kind of things you see in New York, as opposed to what we would normally see, which would be the palm trees like you have here.
Exactly. And it's so funny too because a lot of people think Vegas and they think desert. And there's some not every part of Vegas is super deserty or like gross and like just sand. There's beautiful, there's luscious areas. They water those places like really well, so don't get me wrong. And so how long, when did you first decide, like, you know what, I want to go, I want to be an entertainer, and I want to be in Vegas?
Well, okay, so talking about the neighborhoods like we were talking about earlier. My neighborhood was a Jewish-Italian neighborhood.
Okay.
Everybody, when they graduated, tried to make an effort to become a lawyer or a doctor or something affluent in that way.
Gotcha.
I thought I wanted to be a doctor,
Okay.
and what I was doing while I was going to school was working in a pharmacy on weekends. The large pharmacies like the Walgreens and stuff where CVS, where you have the makeup counters up front and the pill counters.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I remember those.
So where I was supposed to be learning from the pharmacist, I was a junior pharmacist back then, and they would make the medicines and stuff, and you'd have to do it by hand where it's all, computerized now,
Right.
And you'd have to physically count the pills.
Right, where you have that little table and you have to skip it all out.
So I would help do all that stuff. But I found more fun up front. So I would weasel my way up there, you know what I'm saying? And the reps would come in on the weekends and I would speak with them, and through trial and error and learning from them, well, this product works this way, and if you do this, notice how much better it's than that.
Gotcha.
So I learned. So the first Halloween that I was working this job, I did like any other law-abiding gay man would do, and I used that knowledge. And I got dragged, and I went to a Halloween contest in a local gay bar there. I think it was called Stars out on Long Island in Deer Park. And I went as Diana Ross, who was my favorite singer.
It's amazing. That's amazing.
And I made the darker skin, and I did the whole bit, and the gowns that she was wearing at the time, the big hair.
Right.
And I had an agent in the audience say, listen, I book a lot of these weddings and bar mitzvahs with lookalikes. Michael Jackson's so hot right now, and Diana discovered them. They were so close back then.
Really?
Why don't we have you come with the Michael Jackson on these gigs?
Wow.
Which was a lot of work, okay?
Well, yeah.
And then I said, okay, so I'm not black and I can't sing. And I want to be live. So that means I got to find a white comedian. And at the time, there was only two very popular. It was Joan Rivers and Phyllis Diller.
Right.
I chose the lesser of two evils. Because Joan Rivers had the gowns.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. No, that's definitely true. That's so fun. And so meeting her for the first time and getting to experience Ms. Rivers and all her glory. I would say glory, and all her sass, and just because every time I've heard someone that's met her, they said you see all this stuff on the stage, on TV, all that stuff, and it's a little bit of an act. I mean, she's mouthy, she's doing it because that's her shtick, but then you get to know her, and she's just she's warm, she's loving, she's just sarcastic.
Yeah. So while I was doing this makeup thing with the drugstore, I changed my act from Diana Ross to Joan Rivers.
Okay.
And I saw she was playing in Atlantic City, which is Jersey, one state over. And we drove. To Atlantic City where she was performing. And like you just said, I knocked on her door. Try to do this with Madonna, see if it works.
Yeah.
I knocked on her door, and she let me backstage.
Wow.
So of course I'm some little kid going, Miss Rivers, I impersonate you, right? And she's like, it's very funny you say that. And she introduced me to the producers of the show La Cage, which was the first show I was in. And they were putting a show at Bally's Park Place. Okay. And it was called An Evening at La Cage. And the MC was a Joan Rivers impersonator. Got it. Who would do what the formula was all along and bring in all these other famous women, a.k.a. a Madonna, a Cher, what have you. Right. And they asked me if I wanted to audition for their show that they were putting in Florida. Okay. So really, by walking into Joan Rivers' dressing room and her making this introduction for me, I ended up getting my first opportunity to audition for these people, which I did. And I got a job for 6 months in Fort Lauderdale, Florida with them.
So what was that experience like?
Well,
oh my gosh.
I wanted to be a doctor, and I went home and I told my parents I want to be a drag queen halfway through. So we needed a doctor to revive them off the floor. Right. But I went and I did the show in Florida. It was a 6-month run because Florida's seasonal, you know. Right. So we went for the winter season when all the snowbirds go down there because it's too cold everywhere else. And I was doing we were playing in a place called the Sunrise Musical Theater, and all the condo people would come in and stuff like that, which were my favorite audiences still to this day. And long story short, Pia Zadora, who was an actress and a singer, and her billionaire husband, Michelin Rickless, came in to see the show. Wow. And they loved it, and they said, why don't we put this at our hotel in Vegas? They own the Riviera Hotel.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't realize they did.
So, we were the first hotel ever to have 2 shows in them. Now you go to Vegas, every hotel has 10.
Has a,
you know, but they're like, we have our big main show. Let's do a 500-seater.
Oh, wow.
And
That's huge.
they built this beautiful wing onto the hotel. I mean, those are the good old days. They built it for
Right.
us. They made it perfect. It was wonderful. And we went there on a 3-month contract, and that particular contract, I ended up staying 25 years.
Wow.
And had I known, I would have packed more.
You
It was
want
a
more
wonderful,
sequence.
wonderful, wonderful run.
And that's so amazing too, because it's like it just those things just fell into your lap, just
Yes.
one little puzzle piece at a time, just fell right into place. And
And
it's
I
just so
feel like
amazing.
that with everybody. Everything's a little bit of talent and a lot of luck.
It's true.
Because I
Very
believe in
true.
my heart there's somebody out there that sings better than Barbra Streisand and Celine Dion.
Well, right.
They just haven't been in that opportune spot to get noticed.
Yeah, and
You
you're
know?
100% right. And it's something you never know what's going to happen. You never,
Never.
know who
Day
you
to
meet.
day.
Exactly. And it's just, I mean, again, the great part about it that they built the stage for you. So how did you go about finding the other people to come and perform with you as the other girls?
Well, at that time, it wasn't my job. It was the
someone- okay.
producer's job.
Gotcha.
Okay? So I went in as the star of the show.
Got it.
And for 25 years, I was the star of Lacage.
Okay.
And of course, I got, as time went on, I got to give my opinions. I gave very strong opinions on how everything should be. Some were taken, some weren't taken. But I was always the type of person that if you're paying for the party, it's going to be your way. But let me suggest strongly, you know, that I think it should be red, not green or blue, you know. And,
Right.
yeah. So and sometimes they agreed with me, sometimes they didn't. But I had to live with the things they didn't. But I just kept them in my storage bank for when I got to finally do my product later on.
And so let's go into that because it's an amazing show. You guys kill it in Vegas, and if you haven't seen, you can go to frankmarino.com and get your tickets for Vegas to go check out Divas. What was the name originally from when you did the Lacage? Did they have something that they called it Divas ever, or was that all you coming up with that?
So when the show closed, I left. It was a very Diana Ross and Supremes thing. I left, and I wanted to do when it was all over, I wanted to do my own show. And I gotta say, I thought it'd be a lot easier. I thought you just knocked on a door and they said, sure, we have an open room.
Sure, let's do it.
I lived in an ivory tower. I was so young and I lived in an ivory tower for 25 years that I didn't know what was going on the street.
Right.
So I had to figure out what was going on the street. And with connections and everything, we ended up, I'll make it like a short version, we ended up opening at what was then the Imperial Palace,
Okay.
right across the street from Caesar's Palace. It changed itself to the Link now. It's the Link Hotel.
Okay.
It's the big one with the Ferris wheel. Those of you who go to Vegas all the time, you know. And we are playing the main room.
Wow.
And it's the same sort of show. I just put all those twists in it that I thought should be there from day one that they didn't agree with. Like, I thought one big thing I know is I thought we should have only male dancers.
Oh.
Because the male dancers are going to be bigger, they dance bigger, and they're going to make us look smaller.
Ah.
So,
Smart.
but my old producer didn't want to do that because they were harder to, I don't want to say control, but to guide.
Okay.
Because these male dancers were very opinionated too on what they wanted. So he just felt the girls were a lot easier to work with. And now I put all the boys in, and I'm happy with having that. Yes, they are difficult. He was right. but the outcome is that we look dwarfed, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and on
right.
stage, I think it's a better visual.
Well, but it adds to that illusion of men with women, and it adds more to the
Yeah.
mystique of it all. And it's just very stunning.
Right, and a lot of these superstars we impersonate, aka a Cher or a Britney, they all have male dancers.
Exactly. Again, it just adds more to the authenticity of what you do. So at this point right now, how many girls do you have in total with
In the
Divas in the show?
I think we have like 12 or 13.
Okay.
And I think everybody does 2 or 3 characters, so the show's different every day.
That's awesome.
So somebody come to Vegas and see the show every night for a week, and it'll be different.
And-
Because everybody gets a day. We do 7 days, except
Oh, yeah.
for me. I do 7 days. Everybody else gets a day off, and they rotate.
Oh wow.
So what happens is when they rotate, depending on what characters they have, like Diana Ross might be Whitney Houston, and
Okay,
Dolly
okay.
Parton might be who, you know.
So they stay in a very similar range,
Yes.
but they do at least 2 different.
I have a gentleman that full time does show lists. You
Oh,
know
wow.
what I'm saying, and makes it rotate, and that people get a different experience.
And it's amazing. And I know a couple of the impersonators you have are known as the impersonator for, you have one that's the impersonator for Britney,
Right.
another one for, I think for Cher as well. And you have these staples of now these performers that are just, they're stunning, and they know when people go there, it's like, oh, it's basically like seeing Britney.
Right.
Because she already lip syncs.
And it's getting harder and harder to get new people in, because I'm looking for a Taylor Swift right now. So if you're out there, let me know.
Yeah.
But you need to have somebody come in to do Taylor Swift that's as good as my Cher, that's been doing it for 20-something years.
Right.
You know,
No, you need to be at that caliber already.
Exactly. So that's the part that's hard for us right now. I'd also like a Miley Cyrus again if you're out there.
So I'd like to ask, have you ever considered, and I didn't know if it would change from the dynamic of what you do, ever considered bringing in women to play men and doing kind of the reverse of doing
Like a drag king?
Like a drag king.
No, I thought about it.
Okay.
I never did it. We did have a Michael Jackson in the show. It was a man who did Michael Jackson, and the audience loved it. And that was my second thing in the old show that I didn't want. I wanted the male dances, and I didn't want any men doing men.
Okay.
You know, that's more of a thing for a different type of show, just a look-alike tribute show.
Right.
So I wanted to keep it all authentic, like just a drag review.
Right. And so, for a lot of people that don't understand, you guys aren't. I mean, you do have some drag queens, but it is female impersonation.
Well, I think it's all the same thing. To me, I'll give you my opinion.
Oh yeah, for your opinion.
So
yeah.
I think a female impersonator is somebody that dresses up like a female for a living, maybe, you know what I'm saying, or a performance. And drag queen, I think, is just more of a derogatory term of it, or a slang term, I should say. I don't mind it if somebody says, "Oh, you're a drag queen." You know, I opened my book. My first book, His Majesty the Queen, opens with the difference between a transvestite, a transsexual, and a female impersonator.
Oh, and I bet you get hit with that. A lot of people assuming you're transgender or assuming
Right, because
you're
they don't
transsexual.
understand it, and they don't mean to be derogatory when they say different things. Like I had somebody the other day going, "Oh no, I understand what you're doing. You have that transvestite show," and I went,
No.
All right, we're gonna have to go to school.
But that's the thing, though. I love the fact that you can bring this education to people that do not understand what it is, and actually.
And again, they mean it innocently. When they say it, they don't mean it mean. They just don't They just spoke like a horse with blinders.
Yeah, or they've heard it a certain way on time, or they've seen another show similar, and they just assume it's all the same without actually finding out.
And I'm sure there's transvestite shows and there's transsexual shows.
Exactly.
You know?
And you can't, but the thing is, like, I love the fact that you can give that distinction, and you can, again, like you said, educate them, bring them to school, teach them a class or two, but no, it's amazing. So what would you say has been, through the entire, either the first part of it, or just up to recently, has been one of the biggest things you've ever had to overcome with it to really get to, like, okay, I got through this struggle, but now that I'm doing it's like, it's not smooth sailing, but it's better sailing.
I was thinking in a different direction, but this is a good one. So Joan Rivers got me my first spot by introducing me, but when I got to Vegas, it became a little too close for comfort for me and her.
Okay.
So she was at Caesar's Palace, I'm at the Riviera, which at the time there was a lot of spaces in between that are now full, but it was like one hotel away at the time. And I was just a young, I think 19-year-old drag queen impersonating Joan Rivers, where my Cher was doing a Cher song and my Madonna was doing a Madonna song. I was doing, at the time, her big jokes were Elizabeth Taylor jokes. Liz was heavy, and her famous ones like, you know, I stood in front of the microwave and screamed, "Hurry!" You know, and I was using them in my act because I was impersonating Joan Rivers. I wasn't a comedian stealing another comedian's jokes.
You were just repeating what she had already done.
So, not to age me, but I was doing a television special with Milton Berle, father of TV, and it was called Milton Berle Joins an Evening at La Cage. He did the hosting spot, and me, like the other guys, did individual vignettes in the middle, and I did a Joan Rivers vignette. Well, when she saw it was all over the newspapers, and when she saw the print ads come out, she called me. So imagine like 20-year-old getting a phone call from Joan.
Really.
And she's like, "I hope you're not using any of my jokes and this and that." And Milton had his own writers. The show was written, so I didn't have to worry. When it was over, I went back to my nightclub act, and they would have lawyers come in, and it was crazy. But like I said earlier, now Pia Zadora and her billionaire husband own the building. So just to make it a perfect circle, Joan's playing Caesars. Pia Zadora is opening for Joan at Caesars.
Oh my God.
Using a 40-piece orchestra that Barbara Streisand doesn't even use anymore because, did I mention again, her husband was a billionaire. And he wants to antagonize Joan Rivers because he knows I'm 19, I don't know this. Media and press are going to make a big deal of this. So it was just a whirlwind. We went to arbitration. Joan said, I'm suing him now. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm being told by the hotel to do it. I'm telling them not to do it. And I got served on stage.
Oh my God.
We went to, yes.
that's
Oh,
the
and
worst.
I remember like the shows back then, PM Magazine and these big nighttime, Entertainment Tonight was always around.
Yeah.
They just made such a, I was on the full cover of the National Enquirer.
Oh my
The
God.
full cover, nobody else's picture, just mine.
Oh.
Joan Rivers suing Frank Marino for impersonating her. It happened in such a good time for me because Joan had just left the Johnny Carson show and
Right.
America was kind of mad at her for
Right.
doing that. They were on his side. I was on hers, but they were all on his side. And they were ready to get angry at her for
okay.
not this poor kid is
Right.
just impersonating.
Right.
And really that was the truth. But what it did to help me, and this is how you asked how it became the problem. A lot of these improv comedians and stuff felt bad. So they go, I do an act, but this wouldn't fit my act. Try this. It's very Joan Rivers-esque.
Oh.
And I went out there and they would write my own joke about, Elizabeth Taylor or whatever her subjects were. So I kept her subjects, so they got it, and I used other writers, and then I learned how to write a joke.
Wow.
So it really helped me. Since then, she had her daytime show and her nighttime show, and she had me on all of them, and we made, I think on her daytime show, this was very funny, she said to me, before obviously she passed, she goes, what would you do if I died? And I said, I would have to join Legends in concert. Well, she fell over. It just started a good friendship again there after. So since that point, everything went full circle. And right before she passed, I got to be on Fashion Police.
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
Which was a dream. I believe Jackie, you said was on the show a few weeks ago, was a writer on the show.
Yeah.
And so for me, it went full circle, and I'm glad it did.
Well, and it's great, and also, I mean, I'd read before also too out there that, I mean, at the funeral you talked with Melissa and you were actually going to say, hey, I'm going to step back from it. Melissa's like, no.
Yeah.
Mom would be mad if you did that. She
Right.
wants you to like do it, and now it's a respectful homage that you pay
Yes.
to her memory and everything that she
Yeah, so
helped
now
you
I say it's a
accomplish.
tribute rather than an impersonation.
Yeah, which is fantastic, and honestly, I mean, she helped you from start to finish, basically.
Exactly.
And it's just
She made her own joke that complimented herself in saying she would always tell people, my career is so powerful that it supported 2 households. And probably many more.
which is probably very, very true. Besides Joan Rivers being a huge celebrity you've met with, who have been some of the other fun ones you've either had the privilege to either be on TV with or to do a show with or anything like that?
A lot of them, but I would say in the old days, the ones that would be interesting to people, I mean, even when I look back and I think, oh my God, you knew Liberace or you knew Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack and Liza Minnelli, Elizabeth Taylor. That's how long I've been doing it. And then for modern day, of course, because we're in Vegas, you see Britney and you see, I sent my assistant in to Neiman Marcus yesterday to return something for me, and Mariah Carey was shopping next to him.
Oh, wow.
And we had met her before, but he's like, you're going to be so jealous that you didn't come with me.
Because I look who I'm at.
I'm sitting next to Mariah, and he sends me the photo.
Was there someone that was just like, that would just, besides them, that just really stood out in your mind, that you were like, oh my God, that you were like a little shell-shocked getting to meet or starstruck?
Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. God,
Oprah
I mean God.
Winfrey. Yeah, that's so funny you say that. I have a picture of her and me in the house. I go, and then I met Jesus. But even my partner Alex will tell you, when she walks in a room, there's an energy.
Oh, yeah.
That just changes. And it's amazing. We had that with Barbra Streisand, and when she did the New Year's Eve concert, we went,
Yeah, I can
the
imagine.
energy again.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
Barbara, it was so funny because Oprah's now here in West Hollywood. Her entire network has moved out here.
Really?
She's over at The Lot, which is down over on La Brea and Santa Monica.
And I heard they're going to do the Oprah Winfrey show again. Is that true?
That's the rumor. We don't
I
know
hope
if
so. I'd
it's
love
true or yeah. We don't want to say anything yet. But yeah, like we went over there to go see them putting up the new building and everything, and then she went onto the lot. They cleared everyone out, and it was just like, and you could see her in the distance, like, they were like, oh, it's Oprah, and you got a card, But yeah, I mean, I can imagine something like just being a little daunting. And Barbara, we have a friend who does her hair, and just
Really?
He tells us stories. He's like, yeah, I went to have dinner with Barbra Streisand. And I'm like,
Marco Pelosi.
what? You did what? Yeah, Marco Pelosi, amazing stylist here in West Hollywood as well. But so for what you see as the compilation of 32 years of being the #1 headliner in Vegas for that long, Where do you see yourself kind of moving towards now for 2018 and the new year with all that?
What I really would like to do
Mm-hmm.
is, because it's the only thing you have to do these days to be able to stay doing what it is you do already, is I really want to work on a reality show.
Okay.
We just did one, but it's all in Great Britain, and I'm going to end up becoming a name in Great Britain.
Well,
Now, I need
that'd
to
be
get
great.
that name over here with the television crowd.
Okay.
Because nowadays, everything's on TV. It's American Idol, it's all
Right.
these things, and then you go and perform. There's a lot of these people, America's Got Talent on
Right.
the strip now.
Right.
So you got to keep yourself in television. And when I was starting, it was all the talk shows, and then it went to like travel channel shows and stuff like that.
Right.
So now it's the reality shows, and
Yes.
I think I've been a guest on everybody's show, from every housewife to every other dysfunctional program out there, toddlers and tiaras.
Oh my God. I can imagine that
I
one
did
was
them
a
all.
nightmare.
Millionaire Matchmaker. I forget. I mean, so many of these crazy
Yeah,
ones.
because that one was actually just recently too for
That
Millionaire
was a few years ago,
Matchmaker.
and that was
Yeah.
really that one. I didn't realize how many people watched
Oh,
that show.
yeah.
We would go all over the world, and people would be stopping me, going Millionaire Matchmaker, and I'm going, why did I work all those years? I got to do this one show.
But no, I can totally understand that, especially, and so with reality, especially even with Los Angeles being so close and so much reality TV around here, like you said, like Housewives, Vanderpump Rules,
Right.
What Happens at the Abbey, all these different things over here in this community. Would you do a lot of crossover between Vegas and LA, or would you just stick with
I
LA?
would like to keep it in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had one idea. It was the Real Headliners of Las Vegas, and it was
Oh.
like 5 different headliners. All of us different lifestyles, one married, one single, one afternoon show, one night show, one drag show, one gay, one this, one that.
Right.
So all different, and our shows aren't what we're talking about, but what's happening outside of it.
Got it.
Like they always want to do these shows on my show, and I go, the show is the show every night. It's perfectly done and choreographed and
Yeah.
directed. That's not going to change.
Yeah.
If there's a mishap, it's 1 in a million days.
Right.
But
They
what's
had that
happening
done.
backstage and at home with each individual, the backstories are incredible.
Oh God, I can only imagine what happens backstage.
Yeah, you know,
with some
I
of the-
sit there every day going, and I don't have a reality show. Because no one would believe it. They would think it was set up.
Oh no, well, first of all, I'm half of the queens I've seen on RuPaul's Drag Race. I know what goes on back in those changing rooms.
So you know.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what I do. They have one room and I have another room, but I have a baby monitor and they know it. But this is why, not to spy on them.
It's so true.
Because when there's an argument and I as the boss have to make a decision, I want to make sure if something happened, the first person didn't instigate it, the thing comes running. Well, I threw a pebble at him and he hit me back with a boulder. Well, you shouldn't have thrown the pebble.
Right.
I want to be able to say, you started it.
Yeah.
Because prior to that, I was put in an incident, in a situation where I wasn't there to judge the incident
Right.
to go, who should have
But that's really smart though. The fact that because again, you're in charge. You're the one that has to make sure all this
That's
stuff
right.
goes
And that's
together.
why they call it baby monitor. Sometimes you're babysitting.
It is true. No, I've heard so many stories and horror stories of what goes on back in them from all these different queens being on tour or being like in backstage, and it's just it's you can't write that stuff. You can't.
So you imagine. So I have an array of impersonators and I have an array of dancers, and you put the mix together, and out of 25 people, one person might be having a bad day, which could erupt an entire dressing room.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No. So anyone Bravo logo. Any other reality TV show, VH1, seriously, that one's actually been doing Drag Race. Yeah,
they've
so
been doing Drag Race.
freaking do the show.
I'll take Spike TV. I could be Bush.
Ethics.
Hey, he can act.
Oh,
I mean,
Viceland?
yeah, Viceland, exactly. They're doing
Anything.
stuff
I like Joan Rivers to say, I'm desperate.
She's like, I'm ready to work and I'm thirsty for it. Which is true, and I love watching her documentary too because I mean, when
That was the best.
that was like her watching her actually say like, why
My
are these things
fear.
blank? Why are these blank? Why are these blank? Why are these blank? See,
Stressful.
this is stressing me out. She's like, I need work. I need to do work. But you're right. It's one of those things, especially when you've been doing it as long as you have.
And what I like about Joan that I also do, it's not about, okay, you just did something really nice, great. Don't live on that laurel. You got to keep going. So she wrote a book. Okay, then we're going to put out a comedy album. Then we're going to do a perfume. I'm making it up. But you just got to keep going and forget about what you did yesterday and just keep going. Because a lot of people like to live on their laurels and just coast.
Right, and the thing is, you can't do anything like that because it's so hard to once you
keep up. The world's moving so fast with all this. Everything's computer.
Right.
It's moving so much faster.
Right.
You know that people's attention spans are getting less and less and less.
Right, but also it's taking your brand and being able to keep the consistency and the actual truth of what your brand is, but reventing it every 5-10 minutes to what it needs to be to stay relevant.
That's it. And
that's
the game changes every day.
Oh gosh, yeah. And wherever it is, it's really crazy. But no, you're right. I bet it's the hardest thing for an entertainer to do. So what would be one piece of advice you give to anyone starting out, either in the entertainment industry or doing drag or anything similar to your field? What is one piece of advice you could say, or even that you could have told yourself 30 years ago?
What I would give advice if you want to be a drag queen, be a doctor instead. The human body stays the same. You just have to learn how to fix it.
And so are both your parents still alive or in New York?
It's a long story because I have 3 sets of parents. I was adopted at birth. And that's how I got my name, the Marinos. They had passed when I was young. Went to live with my godparents, who passed about 10 years ago. And just recently I lost my parents. I found my birth parents.
Oh, wow.
And I got a good 25 years with them.
That's amazing.
I say recently, but you know,
listen. No, it's still.
Yes. Yeah. Then I just lost them. But so now I'm all alone.
No.
That's why I'm available in the Christmas season. I have nowhere to go.
But no, it's amazing that you actually got to meet your birth parents with all that. And what was their initial reaction to you?
Well, here's something you when you are born, some things are in you already, I believe, and some things are taught. Okay, so I might have been taught my manners and everything from growing up, but some things are just in you. And like when I met my mother, she looked exactly like me.
Oh, wow.
She was from Brooklyn, New York, Queens, New York, and she has the big blonde hair and the jewelry and the clothes. I don't think I've ever seen her in the 25 years I got to know her. Seen her wear the same thing twice. It was done. I mean, big jewelry that I would have to sneak a piece of.
You know, too bored of you.
So it was really fun. So that's what I mean. Like you could put her in a room of 1,000 people, say pick Frank's mom, and you would be able to go right to her.
That's amazing. And then with your family. It's a very big, I'm assuming, extended family with everything with that, and I mean, especially Italians. I'm Hispanic, so I know it's just we got
same thing.
We got a lot of little ones running around always out there. What is the overall support you usually get for fans when you have people come see? Because I bet you get a lot of diversity from just obviously a lot of gay people coming to see the shows, but also a lot of people that are intrigued to seeing what this impersonation is.
It's strange, like. My audience, I'd say, is 90% just straight middle America.
Okay. Wow, that's huge.
Because even gay people now, I think we're our own worst enemies sometimes.
Oh, definitely.
They go and they'll be like, "Oh, we can see a drag show at the bar."
Right.
And the ones that come and see it, and they can tell them, "Oh, it's not what you're thinking. This is like in such a bigger level." You know what I'm saying? And then they watch these television shows like Drag Race, where I don't believe you could just add water and make somebody a celebrity. Right. I think you need to be beaten down a couple of times to be strong enough to handle these people you're going to come in contact with, whether it be agents, producers, directors. You just add water and you throw this poor person out on the street because now they got name recognition. They're going to get taken advantage by a lot of people.
And I like that you bring that up too, because I've had several drag queens on the show before and talking to them about their opinion of, do you have to be on Drag Race in order to succeed as a drag queen today in today's society? And I get a split response. Some of them say, I think so. It's a springboard to kind of push you up a little faster. And some people are like, no, I don't want to need that. What do you think is your opinion of what Drag Race has done for, especially the drag community? What do you think your opinion is on that?
Well, tonight, I'll admit, I'm going to see the Christmas special with the Queens of Drag Race because I love Michelle. And the show itself at first, I thought it kind of, now I love RuPaul. If you said, who's your favorite female impersonator, I love RuPaul's look, I love his style, I love his music, love RuPaul. But the show like when they would make these people do these crazy stunts,
Yeah.
I thought sometimes it was like degrading to them.
Okay.
Or when they judged them harshly on stage and in front of everybody, they're like crying in front of America.
Yeah.
I produce in a different way.
Okay.
And I didn't understand that, but because America likes to watch other people be uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
So it made these people who are probably never going to become famous household names because they were on a show like that. But now you throw them out there and it's not at the, like I said, I'm looking for a certain level. And they're not at that level yet because you just added water and gave them a name.
Right. And they haven't paid their
You know what I'm
dues, like you
saying?
say.
Yes.
They haven't paid their dues of actually going and doing the trials and like learning,
Exactly.
making
So
mistakes.
this person now is thrown out on the street
Yeah.
when they're done, and the agent gets them, and the managers get them, and they're not going to get what they should be getting because they're going to say yes to everything.
Right, they're just
They
gonna be
don't
like,
know.
sure, yeah. What? And they're just gonna be like going along and just like you said, taking
Right.
advantage of.
What I would like to see RuPaul Drag Race do, have an now they do All Stars,
Right.
which is their people that won. I think they should do All Stars with other famous impersonators, aka a Jackie B, Frank Marino. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lip syncer.
That'd be
you
interesting.
know, just like that kind of group, and have us who've been doing it for 20 years and more
Come and teach
come
you guys.
come and do
come
compete
and
with
do-
each
compete
other
with each other.
and make it fun. Like an all-star, not meaning all-star from the show,
No,
but an all-star
in the
exactly.
community. Oh, that would be really amazing.
You know,
Oh,
I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
I would love to see, let's see, Frank Marino,
On Juice.
Jackie B, Coco Peru,
Yep.
and Sherry
Sherry
Vine
Vine.
walk into a bar and beat up Lady Bunny. No. That's a new reality show. No, but I mean,
But imagine us with the big personalities
Yeah.
and already
Yeah.
groomed,
Oh yeah.
already armed.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I would never go on that show and say some things to somebody new who's coming up because I'd want it to be all encouraging,
Yeah.
although they just go for each other.
Right.
But I'd have no problem if it was me and Jackie and
Yeah.
all those people.
Yeah.
That would be very funny.
Oh yeah. And God, this shit.
And we'd all be well armed.
I was like, the shit Jackie would say. I
Could
mean,
you imagine?
oh, yeah, I can. I've interviewed her before, and it's just like, oh,
Yep.
love it. You never know what's gonna come out of her mouth next or go in.
Yeah, good.
It's usually chips, but mostly
Yes.
yeah. But no, I love her, and you're right. That would be such an amazing thing to see to have.
Shishi LaRue too. I would like it.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely,
she's
yeah.
amazing, and it's so funny.
And all crazy backgrounds. One's an actor,
Oh,
one's
yeah.
an entertainer, one's a director. You know what I'm
One's a
saying?
porn star, entrepreneur,
Yeah.
like all this stuff.
with drag as the main core
Right.
of their.
No, that would be actually. You're right. That would be a fantastic.
Or
show.
if they won't do it for RuPaul, if you're out there and you want to do this show
Yeah.
too,
VH1, another
we
one.
can just
so
call
there
it
you go.
Behind the Queens.
I like it.
Oh my god. I just had a visual I don't think I want to do it. But no, that is, I mean, and especially, I mean, you guys are the ones that really have set the stage for what, I mean, drag, female impersonation, all of it. You guys have really set the way for us to actually have, first of all, to where the LGBT community is so represented in such a positive way. It's not crazy men getting in dresses.
Right.
No, it's a performance, it's entertainment, it's an actual production and something that's polished and not just this weird drag show. And I love what you guys have done to really set the stage for this community and really show people, hey, this is what we're about. We're all about having fun, being entertaining, but it's a job. It's not like I don't do this for shits and giggles and
Right.
for something silly. So I really appreciate what Jackie B, Coco Peru, Sherry, but all of you guys have really done to set the stage and building our community and really progressing it in such an amazing, positive way. So thank you all for that, for allowing this generation to really have a stepping stone for where we can hopefully progress even further than where we could ever be. So what would be one thing for anyone out there that you'd love to say or tell them about 2018 that's super special besides the reality TV that they can look forward to?
Well, as we do every year, we're going to redo our show this year. I'm looking for Taylor Swift, like I said.
Taylor Swift, right.
I'm-
Maybe a Miley.
Yes, I'm putting a lot more rock and roll numbers in the
Oh,
show.
nice.
Because the rock and roll's going over really well. It used to
Okay.
be like all pop, but I just put a retro Pat Benatar in the show.
All right.
Oh,
And
wow.
It went over gangbuster.
Well, Pat Benatar, first of all, is just...
You know, and what I did was, because I do want the men to come in with their wives and the women, you know, middle America like we talked about.
Right.
And I remember growing up, like, I might go to a Bette Midler concert because I was a gay man.
Yeah.
But my other friends on the football team probably wouldn't have.
Right.
But I do remember if I went to a Pat Benatar concert, they would go there too. Was it because of the music being rock and not pop?
Okay.
But I'm noticing as I'm putting it in my show, the men are loving it more and more and more. So I like that direction. I would like to do an 80s. I want to do an 80s thing where I have like Stevie Nicks, Blondie, and you know what I'm saying, and just do the ladies of the 80s segment, and do different, instead of just doing acts, do segments of different. We had a country one where we did it was Reba, Shania, and Dolly.
Wow.
So that, and I would like to add
Dolly.
Taylor. Yeah.
That would be amazing. But yeah, I love that. Although the ladies of the 80s, I really like that idea. That's something. So go check out frankmarino.com where you can see everything and anything and buy your goddamn tickets to go to Vegas and see the show because it's an amazing show. And also you can check him out on social media. It's either at Frank Marino on Facebook or you can go to Divas LV across social, Instagram and Twitter, or the Queen of Las Vegas. You can go check him out there as well because she runs this town.
I am so impressed you know all that. If you asked me to say it, I wouldn't have been able to. So.
It's research, plus I thank God I have it on like a cheat. So, but we want to thank you so much, Frank, for coming down here and sharing your time with us. No, it's really pleasant. Thank you.
Thank you, audience.
Really want to thank GayLifeLA.com for everything they do for us, as well as King Road Apartments Homes for allowing us to host here today as well. So thank you guys so much. We'll catch you in the new year 2018 and keep safe out there on the holidays. Bye.
Bye.